So for the Protect phase, which is up next, I'm sorry you're stuck with me. I'll be presenting our Protect workshop here. A quick introduction, key thoughts, G&O, solutions, and then probably going to be a little short on the Q&A. Obviously, everyone by now, Tim Foley, Senior Manager, Information Security here for Dataprise. Key thought, there are risks and costs to a program of action, but they are far less than the long-range cost of comfortable inaction. What do I mean? What is comfortable inaction? Very easy. It's doing nothing. If you don't do anything, that's comfortable inaction. And if you don't do anything, that was far too often and for too many years, that was executive management's approach to cybersecurity. I don't want to know that where I'm vulnerable. I don't want to hear about it because then I might have to make a decision about it. So I'm just going to bury my head in the sand and follow the same mantra I've been following for years. If I haven't been breached, then I'll never be breached. It makes sense, right? Not anymore. There are risks and costs to a program of action. Yes, when you're developing an information security program, you will have to invest time to ensure the strategy aligns with the policy, to ensure that the procedures align with the standards and the policies and the strategy. And then you put different layered solutions in place. Those do have a cost, but far less than the cost of doing nothing and being breached. In that event, you could not have a company. So goals. To develop and implement appropriate safeguards to ensure delivery of services. We're all in the business to deliver services to our clients. Doesn't matter what industry we are, doesn't matter what specifically we do. We have a series of clients, we deliver our services to them, and the goal of the Protect phase is to ensure that we can just do that, because as we remember, this is a business resilience problem. So if I cannot deliver my goods and services to my clients, I have a real business problem, not just an IT problem. This is again, and you heard some in the discussion panel, the idea of layered defenses or defense in depth. Don't just have one avenue that you're protecting. Do it over in multiple ways. One key concept that I often use to describe this relationship between this, we'll call it the old guard, Security 1.0. This is where security was seen as an IT problem, and kind of where we are today and towards the Security 2.0. And I'm going to put up a couple of things in each, and you tell me if I'm on the right path. Security 1.0. Antivirus, firewall, patching your operating system. It used to be if you were doing this, you were pretty okay. Now this is not enough. And we need to be looking at this idea of what is even better for the business, and it's proactive. It's not waiting until a breach occurs. It's having a plan. It's doing proactive measures. So we get into this business resilience security, Security 2.0. This is, I'd say this is where we're headed. But it's probably a truer statement to say this is where we are. This is where we are. This is where we should be. This is where we should be looking. Proactive security M. It should say proactive security monitoring and management. Security log aggregation, correlation, and review. If you are bound by any type of compliance, there is a good chance they are saying that you not only need to be pulling these logs and monitoring these logs, but someone needs to be reviewing these logs as well. So it's very important to not only know what has occurred in my organization, because it helps you draw trend lines to what could occur in my organization in the future. Security awareness training. I feel like we've kind of made a big deal about the end users here today, and rightly so. They need to be trained. They need job-specific training to know how to perform their processes and how to perform their procedures safely, efficiently, and most importantly, securely. This idea of next-generation antivirus. So traditional antivirus is signature-based. And if a virus or a piece of malware matched a certain signature that was in the virus database, it raised a flag, put it in quarantine, and score one for the home team. If it didn't, however, and we talked about how impressive these attackers can be, and they write their code to bypass these signature-based antiviruses. So what do we do? If we can't keep up, if the signatures can't keep up with the malware that's out there, what's the next option? And this idea of next generation antivirus, where are we heading as businesses, where are we heading, is towards this idea of behavioral monitoring for threats. So now I'm not just saying, well, you know, you've told me that you're a virus, so I'm going to say that you're a virus. Now I'm saying, you know what, you're acting a lot like a virus. You're acting a lot like a piece of malware. This is what malware would tell me. They'd tell me they weren't malware. And it's allowing us to use the behavioral characteristics and to catch viruses that way. So it's much stronger and in many cases can replace current antivirus. How many people have heard of this concept of the CIA Triad? And I don't mean the three-letter organization in McLean when I say this. I'm speaking more about the cornerstones of information security in my environment. The idea of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And depending on what business you're in and depending upon the risk appetite that comes from the top down and the culture, you may be prioritizing one of these three and may not even know it as a business. But confidentiality, what does that mean? Well, that's very simple. That only authorized people can access the data based on a need-to-know basis. So you're limiting administrative controls and you're allowing that person to only access the data that they need. Integrity, file integrity, data integrity, to the extent that you can know that the files have not been modified and that the data is the data that you think it is. And availability, this one's probably the easiest, so I saved it for last. Can I get to it? Can I get to the data? Is the data available for me to ingest? And the reason I bring that up is it kind of goes into this idea of the CIO versus the CISO, the Chief Information Officer and the Chief Information Security Officer. Same goal, different priorities, and that's what I wanted to get us familiar with the concept. The same goal, helping the business achieve the goals, objectives that they have outlined and the strategy that has been outlined at the top. Different priorities. Based on the CIA Triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, who can tell me what a CIO might prioritize? Availability, exactly. Because your job is to make sure the information is available to the end users. That's your number one priority. If I'm a CISO, do we think I might have a different, I might take a different look at that same exact set of data? What might I prioritize? I'm going to be looking, you can argue integrity, you can argue confidentiality, you can argue both, and you're right. So that gets into this tug of war that exists between everyone has the best intentions for the business, we're just doing it a little bit differently. So up here I have some other differences between the two, but it's about the area of focus and about where they apply their priority when it comes to helping the organization succeed. Layers of defense in depth. A nice little piece up here. And if you look on the right screen, I have a tiny little red laser. This is my goal. Protecting that data is the most important thing that I could do for my business in an information security sense. How do I do that? Well, we do that through policies, procedures, and awareness. It's the biggest area because it's the biggest area, and in doing that, we're protecting every piece of my organization. The physical layer. Do you have a lock to get into your office? Do you have a lock on your server room door? That would be a security 1.0 measure. We get towards this proactive security and where we're going from a physical standpoint. We're talking about the data watch or the those little the cards that get you into the building. You want to secure those even more. You do two-factor with the badge, and then you have to punch in a keypad. Every time you are allowed access or denied access, that creates a log. And so if we're detecting and we have these logs coming through in real time, and I see Tim Foley has been denied access 41 consecutive times, that might indicate a red flag. Now, I know better. Tim just fat fingers his password when he comes to Dataprise in the morning because he gets here too early. But that would be a cause for concern if I am on a security operations center team and I'm seeing this kind of data. Perimeter security. This would be, again, the old guard. We have a firewall, we're okay. In the new world that we're living in, intrusion prevention, intrusion detection. How are we protecting our DMZ environment? That's all going to be in there. And then we go internal network, host, application. This defense in depth is how we're going to ultimately protect the data. When one layer fails, another should pick up, and a control should be in place. If I were to put all layered solutions up here, you guys would be here until next Thursday. So we're just going to go through a couple, and they're also in your binder as well. So at your leisure, look through what those look like. This is not meant to be an exhaustive list by any stretch. This is just meant to give you an idea of some of the things that are available to us as part of a layered solution. Security awareness training, phishing campaigns. Phishing campaigns are something that are really rising in popularity. Why? Because we need to know how susceptible our user base is to these phishing attempts or spear phishing attempts, which are more targeted phishing attempts that are occurring in the wild today. And the age-old adage of even if 100% of my users failed and clicked on the malicious link as part of a phishing campaign, wouldn't you rather know that than just assume that they were all going to act the way they should? This whole concept of, wouldn't you rather know the barn door is open before the horse gets out? That's what these phishing campaigns can help you do, and then they can kind of take apply specific training to help them benefit even more. Offsite backups is another great layered solution. What you want to know is that your backups are not susceptible to the same type of disaster that your business may be. So in the event of a true disaster, and we are in this area, we don't have a whole lot of environmental disasters that come through. I don't know. I had hail a couple weeks ago. That was something I wrote home about. But we don't have tornadoes. We don't have a whole lot of earthquakes. But in areas that do, having offsite backups is incredibly important, because a disaster that affects your business, you need to make sure if you have to go to the recovery, that those are stored in a place that is not susceptible to that same disaster that has affected you. Security information and event management. You're going to hear a little bit more about this when we get in towards some of the detect. This gets into the log correlation. This gets into one of our strategic partners with Alien Vault, something that their product does a wonderful job of. And then at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you have trained, certified professionals that are monitoring these data and that are alerting you in the event that an incident has occurred. So this is the protect phase of the Dataprise cybersecurity intelligence lifecycle.